The Target 12 investigators with the latest now on the verdict in the criminal case against former Fall River Mayor Jaisal Correa. As we have been reporting, Correa has been found guilty of 21 out of 24 counts. A jury coming to that decision at federal court in Boston after deliberating for 4 days.
Target 12 investigator Tim White has been covering this case from day one. He joins us live in studio. Tim, the number one question this afternoon from people, what will the punishment be for Jaisal Correa?
Yeah, well, Brian, of course, we won't know for sure until September 20th when Correa is sentenced by federal judge Douglas Woodlock. In theory, though, even at just 29 years old, if you were to total up all the maximum sentences for each of the counts, Correa could spend the rest of his life behind bars, but I will say that is highly unlikely. Here's how the process works. U.S. probation will do what's called a pre-sentence report, which will give the judge a guideline range for a sentence, but it's ultimately the judge's discretion. Correa has some things working in his favor. For one, he has no prior criminal history, for instance, but also taken into account is the calculation for the dollar amount of the fraud and extortion from this case, which is a lot. Now, I don't like predicting what a judge will do, but I don't see how Correa escapes prison time in this case.
And Tim, this was an unusual trial because of the pandemic. Only one reporter could be inside the room at a time. The rest had to watch it via video stream, as we saw you doing today live at 12. What was Correa's reaction when the verdict was read? Well,
Kim, as many people know, federal court does not allow cameras inside, and we were prohibited from airing the video feed that you were talking about. But Correa was absolutely stoic as the verdict was read. No emotion, he just stared straight ahead. The pool reporter inside the courtroom said his sister wept as the guilty verdict was being read. Kevin Reddington, his attorney, was asked about his client's reaction. Here's what he had to say.
Needless to say, I don't even want to say disappointed. I think he's somewhat stunned.
Now, Reddington did say he was going to appeal the verdict.
All right, Tim, Correa was also found not guilty on 3 counts. What do we know about those today?
Well, this is really interesting, Brian, because on Thursday, the jury had a question for the judge about one of the counts they found him not guilty on. In short, it was over a Rolex watch that some witnesses testified was given to Correa in exchange for him greenlighting a water main project for a private business when he was mayor. The jury wanted to know about the timing of it. If the watch was given after the project, is that a gift or is it a quid pro quo bribery? Target 12 investigator Sarah Gurnelli actually asked Correa about that walking into court this morning. Here's what the former mayor had to say.
How are you feeling about today?
Still good.
Do you believe that the Rolex given to you was a quid pro quo?
I didn't get the Rolex.
That's really the only time we've heard from Correa walking into court this whole time. Now, the jury clearly felt the government failed to satisfy the burden of proof on 3 extortion counts and found him not guilty on those.
We will certainly stay tuned for that sentencing. Target 12 investigator Tim White, thank you.
My pleasure.
But first, we continue to work today's breaking news. Former Fall River Mayor Jaisal Correa has been found guilty on 21 charges in his federal corruption trial. Good evening, I'm Kim Kalunian.
I'm Mike Montecalvo. Correa was found not guilty on just 3 counts he was facing. Here's where things stand right now. Correa will be sentenced on September 20th. In the meantime, he will be released on bail with an ankle monitor.
Target 12 investigator Tim White has been covering this case from day one and joins us now in studio. No surprise here, but Correa's defense attorney said he would be filing what he called a vigorous appeal.
Right.
So what did he say would be the grounds for that appeal?
Well, Kim, Reddington held his cards close to the vest on that one, but the most common basis for appeal is the jury instruction. What the judge tells a jury right before they go into deliberations is key because the court lays out the elements the government needs to satisfy beyond a reasonable doubt in order for the jury to find someone guilty. I expect that to be a basis of appeal here, and often defense attorneys will argue some evidence was allowed to be shown to a jury that the judge should have blocked.
Well, Correa is going to learn his fate, Tim, on September 20th when he's sentenced. Until then, he's free. He's got an ankle bracelet on, so what can he do and can't do?
Well, generally, Mike, there are 2 types of electronic monitoring used by the federal government, GPS, which of course tracks a person's movement. The other is called radio frequency monitoring, which will alert a probation officer if the device is tampered with or if they leave a specified location like the defendant's residence. We know Correa was fitted with a GPS system. In this instance, the judge or probation can set parameters on where a defendant can go. Often it's their home, but sometimes the circle is larger, like a community. We don't know yet what that circle looks like for Correa, but he can't just do anything he wants. If he wants to leave that circle for any reason, he needs to get permission or the feds will be alerted, and a judge could detain him if he thinks Correa violated the conditions of his release. By the way, guys, salt in the wound, Correa has to pay for the electronic monitoring bracelet.
Interesting. So, Tim, how long could all of this play out? As we said, he's scheduled to be sentenced in the early fall, but will that appeals process that we talked about, will that put things on hold?
Well, that's a good question, Kim. I mean, normally what happens in white-collar cases like this, where there's no or little threat to public safety, I should say, is the judge will give a date in which a defendant must self-report to a federal prison. I would not be shocked if Correa's attorney asks for that date to be postponed until the outcome of the appeal you just talked about, but the judge may not grant that, and if he sentences Correa to prison time, he may order him to report to prison regardless of any pending appellate review.
Well, Tim, it's hard to believe that this case now has been lingering for 3 years.
I know, it's stunning. I mean, this has been hanging like a cloud over the city of Fall River since he was first arrested, if you can believe it, in the fall of 2018. That's a long time.
Remember it well.
Yep.
All right, Tim, thank you. And as we just mentioned, Correa was accused of defrauding investors in his Snow Owl app, spending their money on a lavish lifestyle.
Here's a look back at the events that led up to his trial. In January 2016, Jaisal Correa becomes Fall River's youngest mayor. But in October 2018, Correa is arrested and charged with wire fraud and filing false tax returns. The charges accuse him of using funds from his Snow Owl tech app company for personal use and defrauding investors. In December 2018, the city council votes to give Correa 5 business days to resign or face a recall election. Correa does not resign. Then, after an odd and complicated set of events, Fall River voters recalled Jaisal Correa in March of 2019, but then also re-elect Correa to succeed himself. He stays on as mayor and throws a victory party. Correa recalled, then re-elected as Fall River mayor. In September 2019, Correa is arrested by the FBI, accused of extorting cannabis vendors and a building owner. 4 other people are also arrested. Correa is still mayor. Then in October 2019, Correa takes paid temporary leave of absence and suspends his re-election campaign, but remains on the ballot. In November 2019, Paul Coogan is elected the new mayor of Fall River. Moving ahead to April 2021, Correa goes on trial. The prosecution's case lasts several days, the defense presenting just 3 witnesses. And please stay with 12 News for continuing coverage of the guilty verdicts reached in the trial of Jaisal Correa. Right now on our website, you can read a detailed breakdown about every charge Correa faced and how the jury voted, plus see an interactive timeline of the events that led up to this. It's all online at WPRI.com.